I want to talk about what I think is the best registration / copy protection system available for software or music software at any rate. Now, I was going to create a ranty video ranting about the various different types of registration and copy protection systems, but I'm not going to do that. I am going to mention two pieces of registration systems which I really don't like, and I'll explain why in a moment. But you've probably suffered, I'm guessing, at the hands of poor registration and copy protection systems, so you don't want me rabbiting on about those. Just before we start, I need to make one thing absolutely clear. I fully support the developer's right to protect their software and intellectual property. That is not an issue, that is not in question. And I think most of them do try in some way to balance that fact with user friendliness. So as well as registering and copy protecting their investment, they also need to make the software easy for users to use, and that is not always the case. So before we get into what I think is one of the best methods, let me just mention, without ranting, two pieces of copy protection methods which I really do not like at all. The first one is iLock, and I can guarantee that there are people out there holding their head in their hands and groaning. And the other one is eLicenser, which works in a similar sort of way. Now, there are several reasons to dislike these. Initially, I believe iLock came on a dongle, a USB dongle, which you had to insert into your computer. Now you can iLock registrations directly to your computer or to the cloud. So I guess that's a bit of an improvement. Now, I had an iLock dongle because I had a version of Cubase which used a dongle. Now, they infamously got rid of the dongle with version 12, and they made such a song and dance about it. We got rid of the dongle. Now, while Steinberg was jigging about saying what clever boys they had been, I don't think any other major software company was still using dongles for their DAWs. Now, personally, I didn't have a major problem with the fact that it had a dongle, but the fact that they had now made Cubase dongle free was a bit of a damn squid in my opinion. Anyway, let's look at the problem with iLock. So the main problem I had with iLock is that sometimes I would start the computer and I'd get a little message saying that the iLock had not been able to connect to the server. So I would have to restart the computer again. Also, after Cubase crashed, yes, Cubase does crash occasionally, at least it did on my system. Sometimes after a crash, when I try to relaunch it, I get an error saying that it was not registered or there was a problem with the iLock registration. So apart from the operational problems, I've recently been installing or reinstalling a lot of software, moving it from one machine to another, and I have my little iLock dongle, and transfer is not so easy, particularly if you don't have access to the old machine, or if the old machine has gone pear-shaped. There is a machine in my account which is 8 years old, which I don't have access to, and which still seems to have some registrations, and I don't seem to be able to get rid of them. There is an option to remove a certain location from your account, but it does not work on this particular machine. And if you don't have access to the machine that you want to transfer the licenses from, you have to send an email saying why you want to transfer the licenses, and then you need to get permission from each individual license holder in order to reactivate licenses on the new machine. But another problem I have with this, which has been demonstrably demonstrated to me over the last few years, is it sits as a barrier between the developer and the user. So it sits here in between the two. So if anything goes wrong, there's another level to get through in order to try to solve it. And this has been proven when I've been trying to transfer licenses. Sorry, I am getting a bit ranty, aren't I know. Anyway, enough of that. Let me know if you've had any bad experiences with iLock or eLicenser. I shall prepare myself for an onslaught. Or maybe not, maybe I've just been unlucky. Anyway, let me explain what I think is one of the simplest and easiest and useful methods of registration, both for the developer and for the end user. This is used by a lot of big companies, including Arturia. I believe Native Instruments do something very similar. And it's used by small companies as well, such as Pitch Innovations. And on the face of it, I think this is fairly simple. And for me as a user, it works very well. So you go to the developer's website and you log in, of course, as you have to do. And then whatever you buy appears in your account. You then go to your music machine, you launch the software product. It asks you to log into your account using the same credentials as you use for the website, and whoomph. Yes, that is a word, whoomph. And whoomph, it realizes, yes, this is the same account, so it links the two. So yes, it registers this piece of software on your machine with whatever is in the web. I can't really think of anything simpler than that, and as I say, a lot of big companies do something like this. So I thought it would be a cool idea to show you what the back end of these systems looked like. But of course that would mean showing you my account details, the login and activation numbers and so on. So probably not a good idea. But a lot of these companies, the bigger companies anyway, do have an installation manager. In Native Instruments case, it is called Native Access. I have to say I do find this to be one of the easiest and most comprehensive installation managers out there. It shows you what you have installed, what you have not yet installed. I have a lot of stuff I haven't installed, mainly extensions. But that's the front end, and when you log into your account, you can see all the serials and so on. Arturia has a similar setup. You get all the serials in your account, and you can activate and deactivate different machines. If you remove one or if one crashes, you actually get 5 activations with Arturia, which I think is very good, very generous. I don't think the front end of the software is quite as good as Native Instruments, but it works and it does a good job, and that's what you need. And I think just by way of showing a smaller company which uses a similar method, this is Pitch Innovations. They have just 3 products at the moment, a couple of pitch bending products which I have both of these. This is a new product, but they only have 3, so probably not worth having to dedicate an installation manager. So when you buy one of these, you get a download file which is then registered much the same way as what we've been discussing. So the question, I think, really is, why don't all companies use something as simple as this? Now, if there are any software developers out there who want to chime in here and say if this is a good method or not a good method, if there are better methods, then I would be really interested to hear of them. As users, which I suspect most of you watching this video are, let me know what you think. Let me know your nightmare registration and copy protection method, and also let me know if you think there is a better and easier method of registration. I do indeed look forward to reading any comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this thought-provoking, and I really would like to hear what you think. Thanks again. I will see you in the next video.